Welcome to The Resilient Realtor, where we gain insight, inspiration, and understanding of what makes a great real estate agent, interviewing agents of change. And now, the host of The Resilient Realtor, an award-winning veteran real estate agent and community leader, Kim Hayden.
All righty. Welcome back to The Resilient Realtor. I'm Kim Hayden, your host. I'm super excited to be able to be here and that you would take your time and share your time to learn, grow, and engage. Today we have a Midwestern gal like myself, St. Louis. We have an amazing rock star agent from St. Louis who has had a pretty unique journey to herself and to so many people who we sit back and go, oh, wow, they must just like, it's magic. It happens overnight. But we're going to pull back that curtain and we're going to find out what makes this woman tick. Welcome to the Resilient Realtor, Christina Swyers. She is in St. Louis, as I mentioned. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here to speak with you and your audience today.
Amazing. Okay. And we have so much to learn because you're kind of like the opposite side of the coin to me, but we've shared a lot on the journey. The journey itself's been, yes, I'm excited to dive into this. So we all see the gorgeous blonde Christina moving markets and making things happen in St. Louis. I would like to know a little bit more about who you are, a little bit of, where you come from, what brought you to real estate, and the awards and accolades that you've earned over the time.
Oh, wow. Where do I start? Oh my gosh. Okay. So a little bit on the backstory, it sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah, born and raised in St. Louis. Almost 40 this month, hitting my golden 40 this month, but spent my whole life here in the Midwest in St. Louis, born and raised. Love this little town, and it really is the show me state. You have to show people here. We're very different than the rest of the country. We're usually the last to get anything. So love it here, though. It's a great place to live. It's a very affordable place to live, a very healthy, strong real estate market. And I've had the pleasure to grow up here and now raise my own children here. My husband, Jeremy, and I have 3 boys, ages 4, 6, and 19. That's Benjamin, Gage, and Logan. And so I'm a boy mom through and through, and rough and tough. And that's kind of helped me in my how do I say, I've longed for a career in real estate. I just didn't even know it. Even in my 20s, going through career and educational changes, everything leading me up to getting my real estate license 6 years ago. So I was a stay-at-home mom when I got licensed. My husband is in information technology, so I was staying home with our second. But I went a little crazy. I just didn't feel like that was my calling. I knew I wanted more. And so I didn't want to go back into my demanding corporate recruiting job that I had been at before having my son. And so I decided to get my real estate license, and it's been uphill since then. And I like to tell people I built this business with a baby on my hip, literally, because you do what you have to do, right? And it's not really so much about faking it till you make it, but it's failing forward and doing things that you have to do, a lot of times hard things. That you have to do in this business.
Well, give us a couple tips on how you navigated, because I had a toddler when I started, so I have the range that you do, right? I have a 30-year-old, and I have a 22-year-old, and I have a 19-year-old. So I figure nothing is harder than all the single moms out there. Huge shout out, because it was the 5 years was the hardest 5 years of my life, I swear. Having a partner you can share the burden and beauty of being a parent with is awesome. So let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. You touched on being a mom in real estate, and not a lot of people understand that real estate can be all consuming. Hashtag realtor life. How does that balance with hashtag mom life?
Well, I think it depends on the phases that you're in, right? So in the beginning, you're showing a property to a client and you could go into labor at any minute and you could be literally in labor in the hospital negotiating an offer, right? I'm sure all the moms in real estate can relate to that. I'm one of them. Like I've been there, ladies, so I understand that. But, then the baby comes home and then you're like, well, what do I do now? Right? I just don't get a regular maternity leave. So the baby sits next to you, they nap, you nurse, you feed them, whatever you need to do in between calls and in between your income producing activities and your calendar activities during the day. I honestly can think of no better job to be a parent and have a business because of the flexibility. And I love that our children are able to watch us through that growth. I think it really does shape who I call them my baby men, become as grown men. And they see their mom working and they see that. And incorporating them in this career has really been a big part of that. When I say, baby on the hip, it's, if I had to go pick up a commission check or put a sign in a yard or put a super on the door, sometime a child has to come with me. Sometimes I don't have someone else to watch him. So they see me out there working. I mean, I've even been able to niche down so well. I feel like in my field now, my number one client types are families. And a lot of those families know me. A lot of them know my children. And so they ask me, hey, you can bring your son, it's totally fine on a showing if that's okay. It's not usually the norm, but I've built my clientele base to be as such, and so I feel like
My
that really encompasses that whole work mom balance in real estate.
my open houses always were double duty. It was great time with the kids. I would always I say, okay, your job's to count shoes. When we're really busy at an open house, you're to count shoes and make sure everybody's accounted for and they would help serve cookies and do all that. So you mentioned a word that I think a lot of real estate agents who are desperate for the deal don't pay enough attention to: niche.
Um,
So tell us a little bit about how in 6 years you've been able to carve yourself out to where you are an icon, which is, doesn't matter which brokerage you're with, that top 1% is very coveted. And it's not like it's super easy to get to, but you've been able to do it, repeatedly.
mhm.
So talk about niche. What is it that you do differently that has enabled you to reach the levels that you reached?
So I started using social media in my business very early in my career before it was the popular thing to do. In about year 5, started doing that. And um, or excuse me, year 2, throughout the career. And I noticed that there were a lot of moms that would go into mom groups, particularly on Facebook, and they would ask other moms, who is the best real estate agent or who is a realtor? I need a referral. And so I started posting and educating and saying, hey, pick me, right? But then as time went on, and I've done that through the years, that's created almost my niche for me, which is very interesting. And as a single moms and first time homebuyers are also one of my niches. But I learned that when you're speaking to everyone, you speak to no one. So very early, I really learned that. And the groups proved that because, like you spoke about before, when you are working with the right clientele base, it doesn't feel like work. It's just we're having fun showing houses to an old friend. They trust you. They already know and like you, and they trust you, which is what the goal is here in real estate, is to get our clients, to understand. But it doesn't feel like work when you're working with people that you really want to truly work with. And for me, being a mom, what better of a job for us to do and to work with our other moms, because we know who the decision maker is in the household. It's usually the woman. And
80 to 90% of all
Mhm.
home buying decisions or are either done by or directly impact. That's NAR, National Association of Realtor, and I totally agree. Like,
Yeah, that's huge. And so understanding that, and for me early on in my career, that I could come from a place of contribution in a group and give back, then the moms would start reciprocating that back to me, saying, oh, I have a great agent, and tagging me as they do today. And so they'll go into the groups, they'll type realtor, and they'll see you're in almost every single thread. And then they will reach out to you. And that's created this little niche of mine. It's kind of cool that a second niche of mine have actually been born from that, which is working with investors. And a lot of them are female investors. So I will sell their family a home, and then they will become investors themselves, first time investors, and I'll show them how to build wealth through real estate. So it's even cooler to get to do that and then go down there, that rabbit hole with them. And then third is obviously, like I said, single moms, because I was a single mom. I 100% know what it's like to long for a place of your own for you and your child. That's the only thing that you want is safety and security, and you want a place to call your own. And it's so important to other women that you get that. And you don't really get that as a single mom unless you were one. It's just not, kind of like one of the clubs that you don't really want to be in, but you are in. So that's kind of where that is coming from.
Okay, investors. Is this something fairly new that you're starting to see more and more women entering the investment field or pool?
100%. And a lot of them have become my clients, where it's not just out of state money or all cash investors that are males, which we do know a lot of investors are predominantly male. But I think it's a lot of women just didn't understand. And so working at an investment firm in the midway part of my career before I came to the brokerage I'm at now gave me a lot of experience and understanding on the types of investing, and then rehabbing my own house that I live in, to go into a home and I can tell them, it's going to cost this much for an air conditioner, or, I can go through a house and pick that out, or I can tell them, this is a great block for a multifamily. This is going to be your cap rate. This is going to be your cash flow on this property. This is why I feel like it'll be a good place that will appreciate, the location or school. So teaching them and educating them in our community why it's important not only to invest in their own home, but in an investment property, it's a win for everyone in the community. And the more women that we can get to do that, the better it will be for us long term to build wealth, and not even play money. I'm talking about generational money that you're leaving as a legacy to your children and to your family.
Brilliant. What's the number one myth that you see women when you first start talking to them about investment? What's the number one myth that they kind of bought into around that?
The number one myth I feel that they buy into is they have to have a ridiculous amount of money put down, or incredibly stellar credit, or they need someone to help back them. They do not understand that there are a lot of resources out there for them that they can use, even traditional loan wise, and different ways that they can use, and that they can do it on their own. They don't need someone to help them with this. You don't have to have a, a buttload of money sitting around in a shoebox and paying all cash, that there are options for them to use out there.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think that the so many courses, so much out there is driven by men,
Mm-hmm.
that the language is different. The language is different. So it's awesome to hear that you're tackling that. When we're talking about tackling, what are some of the other things that alongside, because we know anybody who is out there knows that being a real estate agent and a mother are not single faceted, that we always have something on the go. We're always working on something. So we've talked about your evolution in your real estate career, how you have organically, through utilizing tools at your disposal, have grown your brand, your knowledge base, your exposure base, the people who are engaging on different things. What else are you adding to your portfolio? No, we've talked about some different tools and such. So what else are you adding at this time?
So at this time, I'm working on a pre-launch right now for a course for the digital mayor, how to become a digital mayor. I found early on using social media and using video was key to getting in front of people online. And not only And not, that cold calling and door knocking are bad income producing activities. But when you are on social media and you're utilizing video, people can see your facial expressions. They can hear the tonality in your voice. They can see your body language. They can really feel like they get to know you. It's a common theme. When I meet somebody that I've never met before in person, they say, I feel like I know who you are before I even get to know you, because they see me on video. But you can reach the masses, meaning branding, and not so much lead generation or gaining leads from online, but it's the marketing and the branding and getting your face in front of them, just like any other person would be running an ad. But they're seeing you, and they're seeing maybe a video you did with their community, interviewing a local ice cream shop, or a local gym owner, or whatever it may be. That has been huge for me. And if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me, how are you able to do that? Hence the course that I'm creating now on how to become a digital man in your town for a modern real estate agent. Masterclass for the modern realtor is what it's called. And so that's what I've been able to kind of work on, and I'm perfecting now to get out to people, because I feel like it's so needed. There's not enough training and teachings on how to do this by someone that's actually done it. So, and
Absolutely.
you know,
Abs- well, and what about the introvert? So a lot of what you talk about is getting out there. Will you have any kind of icebreakers or scripts or anything like that that the introvert can at least consume?
mhm.
So it's a little bit easier for them to approach people, to create those spaces,
Yeah,
those.
absolutely. So I talk about, obviously live video is really effective, but using a videographer or somebody that's really good on editing, and just it's a peace of mind for you to understand. I know you're nervous to get in front of a camera, but that it can be edited. Okay, first of all. And secondly, there are other ways to get things out there besides just using video. You can use postings and with a good copyright. I'll have a whole section and a piece on blogging and SEO. Just to recapture and redirect people from Mr. Google or Mrs. Google to your page, for people to get to know you. So don't discount a really, really well done website where people can get to know you, first and foremost. And then it's baby steps right into video, and using social media programs like stories and IGTV or live. It's baby steps, right? Into getting the process down.
Amazing. Okay, so when we're going through this and you're ingraining, so I started real estate back in 99 before all these tools were here. Yet I still did all of this foundational work. So I was
Right.
part of the community association. I started Moms and Tots baby group, because there was none. When I saw a need, I created the service. I created because I've always worked from servant leadership. Um, Speaking of servant leadership and those types of coaches, who out there do you follow? Not necessarily in real estate. Who do you follow that really inspires you? Who do you listen to?
I love Jenna Kuchar and her Goal Digger podcast. She is so motivating, and I love her presence for women. Particularly now she's a mom, but I started listening and watching her on Instagram. She talks about how she created a business from a $500 Craigslist camera, and now she's a multimillionaire. She's an influencer. She's a podcast queen. And I just love how she's come from a place of, let me share how I did this with you. Let me teach you how to do this. I'm no one special. I'm not a celebrity. I just had a will and determination, and I was willing to fail a lot of times. And she just teaches you. And I love her podcast. She's one of my favorite that I watch.
She has a podcast on, oh, I listened to it. Hold on. I can tell you exactly what it is
Yeah.
because it's in my phone. I
Uh-huh.
have listened to this bloody podcast so many times by her. I think it's interesting how you and I both gravitate towards the same one,
Yeah, that
the
is
same
interesting.
people. So Jenna Kutcher did a podcast on how to identify your brand, how to talk your brand
Mhm.
authentically, and how, coming up with your elevator pitch and coming up with these things. So when people ask you, you're ready for them. Oh, where is she? Yeah, she's in here somewhere. I've got
She
her
was
in
one of
here
the
somewhere.
very first people that I really took that branding to heart and noticed like using different filters on her photos, and like just the way her font was on her website, and like just how she had it all put together just showed the colors that she used. Like we all have colors. I went through and I picked colors that I felt like were best for my personality. It really does paint a picture for the viewer or the listener.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Books in real estate. What's the one book that you think every new agent should read?
Oh, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, and You Are a Badass at Making Money. So it's one
You
and two.
are
Some of my
a badass. Oh,
favorite
this is
books
okay.
about you just getting out of your own way and understanding not so much real estate, but I feel like the mindset is so important in becoming, an entrepreneur and being self-employed, because we have to self-motivate. We don't have somebody to tell us where to be or what to do. We have to make that happen for ourselves. So first and foremost, getting your mind right and understanding that all your goals and wants and hopes and aspirations and dreams were not just given to you by accident. If they were not, you're not able to obtain them, you would never even been able to dream them up. So she kind of helps you remove all the junk and really get down to the nitty gritty on how to move the needle forward, to go from A to B, to leaving that corporate job to being self-employed, and all the space in between. I love those books.
Amazing. I have not read, but I'm thinking if they're on Audible, I will load.
They
It's
are.
right. They are on
They
Audible.
are.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, um, have you had to leave a family event or anything along those lines? This is one of the things a lot of people question, is real estate right for me? Because how do you do the division of time and so forth and so on? Have you had to leave a family event or a family engagement or reschedule something for your family or friends due to real estate?
100% all the time. I mean,
What and what is the conversation that you have with yourself around that?
it's difficult, I will say, because like for me, I'm an Enneagram 8. I don't know if you follow that, like on the scale. And one of I have a really first of all, I have a hard time with being vulnerable and letting people in. And I also throw myself into work to not deal with what's going on. So for me, it's just having that self-talk and understanding that it's okay to grieve, it's okay to take a break, it's okay to deal with whatever I'm dealing with. And nothing in real estate is a true emergency. Very little is something that cannot wait to the next day, which is some very good advice I got early on in my career, because I always thought, oh, I've got to get that document and I've got to get this signed. I've got to do this and that. Very little is actually a true emergency. And you will learn very early on to have success in this business. You will leverage when you need to leverage and let go. And so when you're doing all the right things, you shouldn't have to have so much anxiety and guilt built around that. Although I know, especially as women, we do carry that, right? So I think it's just a
I,
process, and over time,
nothing seems more powerful than mother's guilt. I swear, if we could bottle that and turn that negative into positive, we could feed the world. Like it's crazy. Um, so what's the advice you would give yourself if you could go back to, your 30 years of age? What would be the advice you would give yourself?
oh, everything is going to be okay as long as you understand that you are taking time out of your day to really find out why you're doing what you're doing, and that joy is so important. And it's not just about the money, it's about you figuring out what fills up your cup.
Absolutely. That whole, I know that we beat this word to death, but
Mhm.
passion,
Yeah.
what fulfills you, but
Purpose driven life.
a purpose-driven life, absolutely. Well, I want to say, first of all, you say that you're not real good at being vulnerable and letting others in, but you did really good today. And I think everybody who listens to this, everybody up there should absolutely be following you just you know, there are clues to success. People leave clues and we can see your clues, through everything you do. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way? Like, how can they get a hold of you?
I mean, they could go to my website, christinaswyers.com, or it's even easier if you want to come find me on Facebook. I'm at Christina Swyers Living for my business page, or come find me on Instagram, The Real Christina Swyers. And I'm talking real there. It's everything. It's personal, it's work, it's interwoven, and it's the day to day. It's my 60-second reality show that I'll give, and it's raw and honest and real, and no sugarcoating, that's for sure.
That I can attest to, because I know that after you had your surgery
Yeah,
for a cancer scare,
yeah.
you went on video with black eyes and everything, and it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, Christina fought it out for that listing.
Yeah, I just thought it was so important to really, when you have a responsibility, I feel like, to people that really get to know you, because they really are my friends. Like, I know it's so weird to say that the people on social media are, but they really are people that I connect with and I truly care about. And if I disappear, they're in my DMs asking me, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" So I felt like I had to show my face. And honestly, I was glad that I did, because several other people reached out to me and said, "I've been wanting to go get something checked. Now, seeing what you went through, like, it gave me some personal responsibility to go to the doctor to schedule that appointment." So I felt like I was really able to make an impact, which was really cool.
And I think you have great marketing material there. I think you do it with the black eyes and say, nobody will fight harder for your some boxing gloves.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. Oh, yeah.
I'm so bad. I'm so blatantly like, oh, how can we use that? How's that? Right? I'm that crazy. No. Is there anything that you'd like to add or share to while we have this time with everybody? Is there anything that you want to share?
Oh, man, I'm just thinking, like, I'm in a point in my career where it's very surreal. And about a year ago, I figured out what my true purpose was, at the company that I currently work at. And it is to help other women do what I've been able to do in my company. And it's so incredibly fun and exciting. And I want to jump out of bed every day, because I just want to shake them and be like, come on, let's go, let's run, like, together. And it's so much fun when you feel that kind of passion and fire every day for a cause, and something you truly believe in, because I am living proof that you can go from rock bottom, to whatever your heart's desire, whatever that is. And I'm excited for this year too, because I have those goals and dreams, that I'm going to crush. And it's just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
Amazing. No, you know what? I am with you. I am with you. If you're really full on the inside, it's hard to let anything icky on the outside to
Yep.
penetrate. So I just say, everybody out there listening to the Resilient Realtor, joining us, we get on this bandwagon, this movement
Mhm.
of fill yourself. If we don't put our oxygen mask on first, we cannot be of service to others. And there's going to be a lot of people over the next few years that are going to desperately need you. And if you're taking time to listen to this, it means you are searching and you are looking to fill yourself, to fill up within what your mission, mandate, your purpose, your goals, your passions are. And I'm going to continue my effort in going out and seeking those agents of change, the agents that are willing to put themselves out there, black eyes and all, and say, listen, this is what you need to do. Listen up, listen up. I'm here to support. So,
Yeah.
Christina, you are just a rock star. And St. Louis, is that the place with the arches?
Yes, the Golden
Yes.
Arch. We
I
have
was I
there.
was there when I was a baby. My mom
Oh,
drove
really?
there.
It's
Yeah.
called the
Yeah.
Gateway to the West.
Yes. So I'll have to come down and visit you as soon as we're all allowed to travel again.
Mhm.
I'll be expecting, I'm setting up my tour based on who's going to have a glass of wine for me. So
Okay.
okay.
I've
Awesome. That's my girl. All
got
right. Until next time, again, I thank you so much. You can find us at realresilienttour.com or Resilient Series.
Thank you for joining us today. Until next time, be an agent of change.